you ever ponder how you might respond if you knew total loss was imminent? At 6 centuries of age, Noah bore the weight of years, his gaze fixed upon a darkened sky. A sense of his end drew near. The world around him had plunged into deep corruption, drowning in wickedness and relentless violence. God, weary of humanity's pervasive sin, felt sorrow for having created them and resolved to end all life on the earth. But suddenly, the mighty voice of God pierced the quiet. "Noah," it declared, "construct an ark, for I am sending a flood of water to obliterate all life beneath the heavens." Noah responded with immediate obedience. Yet, the undertaking was formidable. His own family harbored doubts, murmuring behind his back. "Has he lost his mind?" they whispered. "An ark here in the dry ground?" His sons expressed their disbelief. His neighbors, full of scornful laughter, jeered each time they passed his property. "Behold the old fool building a vessel in the desert," they taunted. "Could you stand firm in your convictions, facing such rejection and ridicule?" Despite the widespread disbelief and mockery, Noah pressed onward. "God has commanded me," he repeated, a truth that anchored him. Finally, the ark stood, a majestic structure prepared for its appointed destiny. When the rains began, Noah and his family sought refuge within the ark. Outside, their neighbors cried out in frantic terror. "Save us, Noah!" they shouted, but it was too late. After 150 days, the rain ceased and the waters began to recede. Noah surveyed the scene. All life had perished. Only destruction remained. "Why, Lord?" he murmured. The cities, the towns, the green fields where his children had played, all had vanished beneath the flood's overwhelming power. The world that had been his home was now a desolate and silent void. The devastation was absolute. "Noah, trust in me," the voice of God echoed again, softer now, yet equally unwavering. Though everything Noah knew had disappeared, he understood that a new hope was poised to dawn. And yet, if you hear these words, you are a descendant of Noah. The story of Noah holds profound significance for our modern age. In our own lives, we will encounter floods, and we too must build our ark, even if it means facing rejection for doing so. What sacrifices are we willing to make today to secure a tomorrow for our families? It began in a time shrouded in darkness, where wickedness reigned in the hearts of men. Noah's father, Lamech, recounted tales of the past, stories of righteous individuals who walked closely with God. "You are from the lineage of Seth," he told Noah with solemnity, "the son of Adam, destined for something momentous." "God, where are you?" Noah would murmur during his lonely nighttime prayers. The world around him was a grim tableau of chaos and depravity. Humanity, created in God's very image, had descended into an abyss of sin. Yet Noah, upright and just, found favor in the Lord's sight, just as the scripture in Genesis affirms. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. "Father," Noah confided one evening, the distant roar of a storm mirroring his inner turmoil, "the world is corrupt. Men have forgotten God." "But not you, Noah," his father replied, his eyes reflecting a light Noah seldom saw. "You have found favor in the eyes of the Lord." That night, as thunder resonated, something shifted. Noah felt a presence, powerful and overwhelming. Then he heard it, the voice of God, a deep rumble within his soul. "Noah," it spoke, and time seemed to pause. "I have witnessed your righteousness amidst this corrupt generation. I have chosen you for a purpose." Noah was struck speechless, the weight of the words leaving him breathless. God had chosen him for a task far beyond his comprehension. "I am determined to put an end to all people," the Lord continued, "for the earth is overflowing with violence because of them. I will surely destroy both them and the earth." Noah's heart pounded furiously. "Everything, Lord?" he questioned, his voice heavy with disbelief and fear. "Will you destroy everything you have created?" "Everything on earth will perish," the Lord replied. "But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you." Time stood still. Noah looked upon the land he knew, the life he had built. All was about to vanish. His neighbors' laughter, their mockery. It would all turn to silence and ruin. "God, why have you decided this?" Noah murmured. God's answer was chilling and final, a definitive judgment. The wickedness of man was great on the earth, and every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. The Creator gazed down upon the earth and saw that every thought of humankind was steeped in wickedness. The Lord regretted having made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. Noah was a righteous man among a corrupt generation. His heart, steadfast in faith and obedience, stood in stark contrast to the moral decay surrounding him. Let us pause and consider what this narrative might parallel in our contemporary world. Imagine global corruption and violence so pervasive that divine renewal is the only solution. Would we be counted among that one righteous soul amidst millions? How might we respond to such a staggering divine call? God spoke to Noah in a solemn whisper, a voice that cut through the night's stillness like a sharp blade. "So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you." The following dawn brought with it a potent sense of urgency. Noah, with hands that trembled but held resolve, began the work. The ark was to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. "But how are we to accomplish all this?" asked his son Shem, doubt clouding his eyes. "Trust in the Lord," Noah firmly responded. "He has given us the instructions, and he will grant us the strength to follow them." Construction commenced, the first strike of the hammer echoing like distant thunder through the valley. The gopher wood planks aligned one by one, and the ark gradually took shape under the relentless sun. Noah's neighbors, ever watchful, began to congregate. "What is this madness you are building, Noah?" They scoffed, their laughter filled with derision. "It is not madness," Noah retorted, his voice clear and steady. "It is obedience." Days bled into weeks, and weeks into months. Each day was a marathon of physical and mental effort. The tension was palpable. Time seemed to slip away faster than they could work. Noah reminded his family of the Lord's directives. Put a door in the side of the ark, and make lower, middle, and upper decks. Amidst the building, moments of high tension inevitably arose. One afternoon, as they were securing a vital beam, the wind suddenly intensified, threatening to unravel everything. "Quick, hold it steady!" Noah shouted, and his sons rushed to assist. Sweat poured down their foreheads as they wrestled with the elements, the wood groaning under the strain. In a rare moment of calm, Noah and his wife paused to survey their progress. "Do you truly believe this will succeed?" she questioned, concern etched on her face. "It is God's will," Noah replied, his calmness born from a faith that runs deep. "And in his will, we find our hope." As the final days of construction drew near, tension peaked. Clouds began to gather on the horizon. a constant reminder of the impending storm. "We must hasten," Noah urged, and his family redoubled their efforts, the sounds of hammering and sawing creating a symphony of hope and desperate haste. With the ark finally complete, Noah stood for a moment, contemplating his creation. A mixture of relief and trepidation filled his heart. "Time is running short," he said, his voice low but firm. "It is time to gather the animals and prepare for what is to come." And so, as the sky's darkness deepened, the ark stood tall, a beacon of salvation, a testament to the faith and obedience of one righteous man amidst a corrupt world. As the first raindrops fell, Noah knew he had fulfilled the divine command. The true test, however, was just beginning. "Gather the animals," Noah commanded his sons, his voice steady. "Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal." Time was pressing, and every second was crucial. The image of swiftly rising waters that haunted his nightly dreams kept him vigilant and focused. The gathering commenced at dawn. The scene was surreal, fitting for an epic painting. From the remotest corners of the earth, creatures began to arrive. "How is this possible?" Shem wondered aloud, watching in awe. Elephants, lions, deer, and birds of every hue and size converged at a single point, as if guided by an invisible force. "It is the hand of God," Noah replied, his eyes filled with determination. "He has commanded it to be so." The air was thick with tension and urgency. The timing was critical, but the challenge lay in remaining calm amidst the burgeoning chaos. "Quick, this way!" Ham shouted, helping to guide a pair of giraffes towards the ark. Suddenly, a roar echoed. The lions, majestic and formidable, appeared on the horizon. "Dad, what do we do about them?" Japheth asked, fear evident in his voice. "Do not be afraid," Noah said, placing a firm hand on his son's shoulder. "They too have a place in the ark. God has sent them." And so, with a blend of caution and reverence, the lions were led to their temporary shelter. The procession continued relentlessly. Birds filled the sky in a symphony of wings and songs, while reptiles and mammals joined an unexpected parade. "I have never witnessed anything like this," remarked Noah's wife, her voice filled with wonder. "It is a miracle in itself." In a surprising turn, a pair of animals Noah had never seen before approached the ark. Their colors and forms were strange, but Noah did not hesitate. "Everyone has a place in God's plan," he declared firmly. The hours passed, and the pressure mounted. "There is no time to lose," Noah urged his family. "The rains are imminent." With the ark almost full, Noah paused for a moment to observe the outcome of their labor. The sheer scale of the completed task left him breathless. "This is merely the beginning," he murmured to himself, aware that the true challenge lay ahead. The final pair of animals boarded the ark. The sky, now cloaked in ominous clouds, portended the approaching storm. "We have fulfilled our part," Noah told his family, his voice echoing in the silence that followed. "Now we trust in God." "Dad, the first drops are falling," Japheth exclaimed, looking up at the sky with eyes wide with fear. Panic began to spread, not only among the animals but also within the family. "Everyone inside!" Noah commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos like a sharp blade. The family entered the ark, each taking one last glance back at the world they were leaving behind. Suddenly, the ark's immense doors began to groan closed. A strong wind swept through, and the rain commenced, pouring down with fury. The drops quickly escalated into torrential sheets. "It is now or never," exclaimed Shem, helping to secure the doors, as water rapidly accumulated. The sound of the water pounding against the ark was deafening. We, locked here in this ark, Noah reflected, are the last refuge of life on earth. It was a terrifying and humbling realization simultaneously. We are safe here, Noah said, taking his wife's hand as the doors sealed completely. The roar of the rain intensified, and the ark began to pitch and roll. The world outside was a maelstrom of destruction, but inside the ark, an odd calm prevailed, a peace enforced by faith. "Dad, what happens now?" asked Ham, his voice tinged with uncertainty. "Now we wait," Noah replied, his gaze fixed on the darkness beyond. "We wait and trust in the Lord. He has led us this far, and He will protect us." Suddenly, the ground beneath them shook. "The fountains of the deep have burst forth," Shem shouted, his voice a mix of awe and fear. From deep within the earth, torrents of water erupted, mingling with the torrential rain to create a chaotic clash of unleashed elements. "Everything is flooding," Ham exclaimed, peering through a crack and watching as the waters rose swiftly, sweeping everything in their path. The mountains and valleys, cities and fields, all were submerged under the relentless waters. The ark, built with faith and obedience, began to float. "We are rising," said Japheth, his voice a blend of fear and relief. The colossal structure lifted above the waters, swaying gently at first, but soon jolted by violent currents. Outside, the world was being consumed by the flood. The desperate cries of those who had not believed echoed in the distance, soon muffled by the roaring waters. Life outside the ark perished swiftly, humanity swept away by the fury of divine judgment. Inside the ark, the atmosphere was taut, charged with expectation. "God protect us," prayed Noah, his voice low but fervent. He knew that humanity's fate rested within that vast wooden vessel, adrift on an ocean of destruction. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rains did not cease. The flood covered all the land, and the waters rose above the highest mountains. "The world we knew has vanished," whispered Noah's wife, her eyes brimming with tears as she recalled the life before the catastrophe. Noah, with a steady gaze, replied, "God has promised us a new beginning. We must hold to our faith." His words served as an anchor amidst the storm, a reminder of the hope they still clung to. The waters continued their ascent, and the ark was violently tossed by the waves. "Hold on!" Noah shouted, as a particularly powerful wave struck the structure. The animals inside stirred, their sounds creating a cacophony of anxiety and fear. Amidst this chaos, there were unexpected moments of calm. "Dad, look," said Japheth, pointing to a flock of birds flying in formation over the ark, seeking refuge. It was a small emblem of hope amidst the overwhelming devastation. Let us reflect on the profound magnitude of this event in our own time. Imagine a global flood, a cataclysm that utterly reshapes the face of the earth. It serves as a potent reminder of nature's power and the inherent fragility of human life, as well as emphasizing the crucial importance of faith and obedience during times of crisis. Finally, after 40 days and 40 nights, the rain ceased. The thunderous roar of the deluge slowly faded, leaving behind only the sound of calm water lapping against the ark. "God has kept His promise," said Noah, his voice filled with gratitude and reverence. "Now, we must wait for the waters to recede." The ark gently swayed on the vastness of the endless ocean. For 150 days, Noah and his family had drifted upon the waters, patiently awaiting the moment of deliverance. One day, When everything seemed still, they felt a dull jolt. "We have stopped," Noah announced, surprise and hope in his voice. The ark had come to rest upon the mountains of Ararat. The tension inside the ark was palpable. "What do we do now?" asked Ham, uncertainty evident in his eyes. "We wait," Noah replied, his voice steady. "But we must also seek signs." With that resolve, he opened a small window in the ark and released a raven. "Fly and tell me if the land has dried," he murmured, watching the bird disappear into the horizon. Days passed, and the raven came and went, finding nowhere to perch. Noah understood that he needed a clearer confirmation. Resolutely, he released a dove. "Go and bring us hope," he whispered softly, watching the dove soar into the sky. The waiting was agonizing. "Will it return?" Japheth asked, his voice a blend of hope and fear. "We must have faith," Noah replied. Hours turned into days, and uncertainty took hold of everyone. Suddenly, a familiar flutter broke the silence. The dove was returning, but with nothing in its beak. The earth was not yet ready. Noah sighed, yet his hope remained unshaken. "We will wait another week," he declared. "God has not abandoned us." A week later, Noah released the dove once more. The tension in the ark was almost unbearable, every family member watching with anxious eyes. Endless hours stretched on until finally, the dove returned. This time, it carried an olive leaf in its beak. "Look!" Shem exclaimed, with a mix of relief and overwhelming joy. "The earth is drying." The olive leaf was a potent symbol of hope and renewal. "God has kept his promise," said Noah, his voice thick with emotion. "Soon, we will be able to leave." Imagine the profound hope one might feel today after receiving a sign of life following a global catastrophe. The dove and its olive leaf serve as a powerful lesson in perseverance and unwavering faith during adversity. The ark remained on the mountains of Ararat as the waters continued to recede. Noah's family watched as the landscape slowly began to reappear. "We have survived God's judgment," Noah's wife said, her eyes wet with tears. "Now, we must rebuild." Each passing day saw the water level drop further. The land, desolate yet brimming with promise, gradually revealed itself. Noah, with unshakable faith, knew the time to emerge was drawing near. "We are here by the grace of God," Noah said one evening as the family gathered in prayer. "We have been chosen to begin anew. We must live according to his will." The waiting was over. One day, amidst the silence of the ark, God spoke to Noah once more. "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives with you. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, the birds, the animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground, so they can multiply on the earth and be fruitful and increase in number on it." Noah, his heart overflowing with gratitude, prepared to take the first step into the new world. The ark's doors opened with a long groan, and sunlight streamed into the interior. "It is time," Noah said, his voice firm with resolve. The family and animals began their descent, each cautiously peering towards solid ground. "Look, the sun!" Japheth exclaimed, pointing to the clear sky. Hope shone in everyone's eyes as they ventured out of the ark. Once on land, Noah paused and surveyed the landscape, a blend of desolation and promise. "Let us build an altar to the Lord," Noah said, his voice filled with reverence. We will give thanks for his mercy and for this new beginning. With hands that trembled but held determination, Noah and his family gathered stones and constructed an altar. The animals scattered cautiously, exploring their new home. Noah, with a heart full of gratitude, offered sacrifices to the Lord. The smoke ascended towards the sky, carrying with it the prayers of a thankful family. "Thank you, Lord," murmured Noah as the fire blazed, "for your mercy and your protection." Suddenly, the sky illuminated with an unexpected radiance. A brilliant rainbow appeared, spanning the heavens with its vibrant colors. God spoke again, his voice resonating in the stillness of the moment. "This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth." Noah's family watched the rainbow in awe, comprehending its profound significance. "God has promised never again to curse the earth because of man," said Noah, his voice thick with emotion. "This is his eternal covenant with us." "Dad, what do we do now?" asked Shem, his voice full of curiosity and hope. "Now we begin anew," Noah replied, his voice imbued with a firmness only faith can provide. "We shall populate the earth and live according to God's will." The sun rose on the horizon, bathing the renewed earth in its warm light. Noah and his family gazed upon the new world awaiting them, the promise of the rainbow still echoing in their hearts. When God spoke to them again, his voice was filled with authority and blessing. "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth." Noah's family, still amazed by their survival and the new beginning, listened intently. "Behold," God continued, "the fear and dread of you will fall on all the beasts of the earth and on all the birds in the sky, on every creature that moves along the ground, and on all the fish in the sea. They are given into your hands." It was a moment of renewal, a command to start afresh. In a surprising turn, God added a new stipulation. "Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything." But then he warned, "But you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it." The tension in the air was palpable. The significance of this new law resonated in their hearts. God had forbidden the consumption of animal blood. Noah, his eyes full of gratitude and respect, nodded. "We will obey your commands, Lord," he responded, his voice firm and resolute. Suddenly, God's tone grew more solemn. "And for your lifeblood, I will surely demand an accounting. I will demand an accounting from every animal and from each human being, too. I will demand an accounting for the life of another human being." The weight of these words fell heavily upon them. "Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed. For in the image of God has humankind been made." Noah's family felt the immense responsibility of this new covenant. "Multiply and be fruitful, breed abundantly in the earth and multiply therein," God reiterated, sealing his mandate with a promise of hope and fertility. Then God established his everlasting covenant. "I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you and with every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, all those that came out of the ark with you, every living creature on earth." The voice of God resonated with a solemn promise. "I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth." It was a moment of profound tension, a divine assurance that such a catastrophe would never recur. And God said, "This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth." The rainbow, which had previously been merely a natural phenomenon, was now an eternal symbol of God's promise. Noah's family, looking up at the sky in wonder, grasped the depth of this covenant. The Lord said, "Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life." In the calm air of the morning, God concluded, "Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth." This marked the end of a chapter filled with promises and the dawn of a new beginning. Noah, with tears in his eyes, looked at his family and then at the sky. "God has spoken and made a covenant with us," he said, his voice echoing with gratitude and reverence. "Let us live according to his will, always remembering his promise whenever we see his bow in the sky." Days turned into years. The sun shone upon the new earth, and life thrived under God's blessing. Noah, having completed his monumental mission, decided to cultivate a vineyard. Over time, the vines grew and bore fruit, and Noah, seeking to celebrate this new life, made wine. One night, after the arduous work of the day, Noah drank from the fruit of his vine. The wine, potent and intoxicating, quickly took effect. Unaware, Noah fell asleep in his tent, naked and exposed. Ham, one of his sons, entered the tent and beheld his father in this vulnerable state. Instead of covering him and respecting his dignity, Ham went outside and mocked him to his brothers. "Come see old Noah," Ham jeered, his voice dripping with scorn. "He has drunk himself silly and is lying naked." Shem and Japheth, hearing Ham's words, looked at their brother with strong disapproval. "This is not right," Shem said sternly. Without another word, they took a blanket, walked backward into the tent to avoid seeing their father's nakedness, and respectfully covered him. The next morning, Noah awoke. The discomfort from the wine paled in comparison to the humiliation he felt upon learning what had transpired. "Ham, what have you done?" he asked, his voice filled with pain and disappointment. Seeing the fury in his father's eyes, Ham remained silent. Noah, filled with anger and sorrow, pronounced a curse. "Cursed be Canaan," he declared. "The lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers." The severity of his words resonated like thunder in the calm morning air. Then Noah turned to Shem and Japheth, who had shown him respect. "Praise be to the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the slave of Shem. May God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be the slave of Japheth." His words, full of blessing and future promises, restored some measure of the peace that had been disrupted. Noah, the righteous man who had survived the flood, was also human, susceptible to flaws. This episode serves as a reminder that even the most upright can stumble, yet it also teaches us about the enduring importance of respect and dignity. The tension within Noah's family was palpable. Ham's betrayal and the subsequent lesson left deep marks upon the new world. "We must live with honor and respect," Noah told his family, his words ringing with wisdom forged through experience. God has given us a second chance. We must not forget it. Thus, in the cool of the morning, Noah's family continued their lives, mindful of the blessings and curses that now defined them. Wine, which had been a symbol of celebration, became a bitter lesson in humility and proper conduct. Noah, gazing upon his vineyard, contemplated the future. "We have been blessed and cursed," he murmured to himself. "It is our responsibility to live according to God's will." And with that profound resolution, Noah's family set forth to build a world that honored the teachings and warnings they had received. Time passed, and the new land began to teem with life and activity. Noah, the man who had survived the flood, watched his children and grandchildren flourish in a renewed world. His 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, became the patriarchs of numerous nations, and their descendants spread across the earth. Shem, blessed by his father, became the ancestor of the Semites, including the Hebrews. His lineage, carrying divine promises and blessings, spread eastward and southward, populating distant lands and founding prosperous cities. Ham, despite the curse upon his son Canaan, also saw his descendants multiply. His children became the progenitors of many African and Asian nations, spreading southwestward. "Though we have been cursed," Ham would often say, his voice echoing with a blend of defiance and persistent hope, "we still possess our strength and will." Japheth, the youngest, saw his descendants scattered to the north and west. His sons established European and Asian nations, founding kingdoms and civilizations that would endure through the centuries. "God has enlarged Japheth," Noah proclaimed, watching as his lineage grew and prospered. Noah's days stretched on in peace and contemplation. He lived 350 years more after the flood, reaching the extraordinary age of 950 years. With each passing year, Noah reflected on the unparalleled journey he had undertaken, from constructing the ark to witnessing the earth's renewal. "God has been good to me," he would murmur, his eyes filled with deep wisdom and gratitude. One day, surrounded by his family, Noah sensed his time was drawing near. "I have lived a full life," he told his children and grandchildren, his voice soft yet clear. "God has allowed me to see the renewal of the earth and the multiplication of my lineage. Live justly and honor his covenant." The eternal cycle of generation and renewal was ever present in Noah's thoughts. "My legacy is not solely in the flesh," he mused, "but in the faith I have faithfully passed down to my descendants." When Noah finally drew his last breath, his family surrounded him. "A righteous man has passed," said Shem, his words heavy with emotion. "But his spirit and teachings will live forever." The impact of Noah's life was profoundly felt in every corner of the earth. His descendants, acutely aware of the great responsibility they carried, spread out and thrived, populating the world with the promise of a better future. The name of Noah, the righteous man who walked with God and survived the flood, resonated through the generations. His legacy endured, not only in his descendants, but in the story of humanity itself. The faith, obedience, and hope that he embodied became guiding lights for those who came after, helping them navigate life's inherent challenges and tribulations. Thus, the life of Noah, marked by astonishing turns of events and moments of intense tension, reached its conclusion. But his story, his unwavering faith, and his enduring legacy continued to live on, remembered and honored by all those who followed, in a world that had been purified and renewed by the judgment and mercy of God. Here concludes the story of Noah as recounted in Genesis. But do not stop here. You are now called to travel forward in time, to the final chronological chapter in the Bible, the book of Revelation, where the ultimate conclusion unfolds. Christianity foretells a second coming of Jesus, a central theme expounded upon in the book of Revelation, a prophecy referenced 318 times throughout the Bible, making it the most frequently mentioned prediction. Furthermore, it stands as an exceedingly relevant book for our present times. Blessings to you and your family.